It's Transmissions. I'm Nick Harcourt. I'm here with Lucinda Williams from the World Arts Stage. Thank you so much for playing for us.
Thanks for having me.
Are you ready for 21 questions?
I'm ready.
All right. First musical memory.
There was because my mother played piano, so there was always a piano around the house. So I had that kind of music, that environment.
What kind of music did you
Well,
mom play?
she was into, remember that album, Errol Garner, Concert by the Sea, and
I got to be
Judy
honest with you, I
Garland.
don't. Oh, Judy
Okay.
Garland, yeah.
yeah, Nat King Cole.
When
And
was
all
the
of that.
moment you knew that you wanted to do music?
The first instrument I ever played was a zither, which belonged to my mother. She'd had it when she was a girl, and it looks like an auto harp, but you play it on your lap.
Uh-huh.
And you don't have to be able to know music or anything, because it comes with this sheet music that's shaped like the instrument, and you put it underneath the strings, so that you're able to.
Oh, and it plays itself kind of thing? You just...
No, you play it, but it shows you which notes to pick.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I had they call a Magnus chord organ. And there are these little, small little organ things. And again, I didn't know how to read music.
Uh-huh.
So you put the sheet music over the keyboard, and the note
told you
would
the notes to
point
play.
right. And then finally I picked up the guitar when I was about 12 and a half. I started taking guitar lessons.
I was going to ask what was your first musical instrument, but I guess it was the zither,
yeah,
right?
technically, but
Well, when you picked up the guitar, what was the first song you played?
one of the first ones would have been that Elizabeth Cotton song, Freight Train, probably, was one that everybody always learned. I learned how to pick. This guy would come over once a week. He had a rock band. This was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and he would, I would tell him what song I wanted to learn. He would show me the chords and the finger picking technique for that one song. So I learned how to play. I still play with a thumb pick and two finger picks. So, back then, you have to remember, this was 1965, and I was into Pierre Palmieri, and so Puff the Magic Dragon, was on the list.
Who's your favorite artist, dead or alive, who does what you do? Do
Bob Dylan.
you remember the first time you heard Dylan?
Yeah, it was the same year, 1965, and it was Highway 61 Revisited. That album had just come out. So that was actually the first Dylan album I heard.
Do you remember the feeling you had when you heard it?
Yeah. I remember thinking, I didn't understand all the lyrics and everything, but the whole concept of it made sense to me, because it was the first, folk type artist or folk rock, whatever you want to call it, who took, he basically took the traditional kind of music, folk music and all of that, and paired it with, the literary world connected to the folk music world. And I was from both, because my dad being a writer, I grew up around writers, and then, the traditional music and all that. And so I got it. I heard, these amazing, he was the first one who'd done that. When I started writing songs and everything, the next couple of years, whenever that was, I just remember thinking that's what I want to be, that good one day. At some point I said that to myself.
If you didn't do this, what you do, what would or could you do?
That's a good question. Well, I would have had a career in something, because when I was growing up, we were encouraged to pursue a career in something, whatever it was, have something that you're passionate about, and go to college and graduate and all of that, which I'd intended to try to do, but the music pulled me away. I remember when I was I went to college for a couple of semesters in the early 70s at the University of Arkansas, which is where my dad taught. And, you know, you're supposed to know what you're going to major in when you're a freshman in college. And so, you know, they asked me to choose a major. And I actually chose cultural anthropology.
So you think you would have liked to have been an anthropologist and
Well, I don't
study?
know. I think it was from traveling around a lot. We spent a year in Santiago, Chile in 1963.
Wow.
My father had a grant to live and teach and, you know, meet other poets and all of that. So
you had an interest, I guess, in
I think I
other
started getting
cultures,
interested
how
in
people
other
live.
cultures,
Yeah.
indigenous cultures. And then we lived in Mexico City for a year in 1970. So, you know, became very interested in different indigenous cultures. And maybe that's why. I don't know, you know.
So you wouldn't be a baker or something?
No. My dad wanted me to stay at school so I'd have something to fall back on in case the music thing didn't work.
Say no more.
And fortunately, it did work. Eventually it worked, but I didn't have anything to fall back on. I couldn't type. I couldn't, you know, so.
You know, they say, like, what's plan B? And the right answer is there is no plan B.
Yeah,
Right.
There is no plan B. If this hadn't worked out, I would have been basically screwed.
What's your idea of happiness?
That's a hard question. Probably a close friendship and a great bottle of Cabernet.
What's your idea of misery?
Losing someone close to you, you know.
Do you have a male hero?
I guess I would have to say probably my father, my late father.
Do you have a female hero?
My grandmother, I think my father's mother. Yeah, she died 2 weeks short of her 100th birthday, for one thing.
What's your favorite place on earth?
I don't know. I like different things about different places.
You're on a desert island. You're only allowed one thing.
One thing?
Yeah, that's it. One thing. What is it?
I guess it would have to be my glasses.
What are you going to read?
Well, I might just want to look at something that maybe drifts up on shore or something, you know.
Fair enough.
Just in case, you know. I mean,
Yeah. Just in case. There's
just in
a
case I
library.
need to look at something. No,
Yeah.
not for reading necessarily, but just be able to see things at a, you know, more.
Like if you're like in the little tide pools and you want to see the baby crabs.
Maybe, I don't
Use
know.
your glasses. If you ran the world, what's the first thing you'd do?
Make everybody sit at a big table and discuss, you know, how to sort problems out without blowing each other up.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
If you had a superpower,
Probably being able to beam myself to another place. Is that what you mean by superpower?
Yeah. If you had one superpower, what would it? So you could just like blink and you'd be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or go back in time, yeah.
Doctor Who.
Being able to time travel thing.
I like that. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl.
How did I know that? Is it easier to write a love song or a revenge song?
Well, you know, I call them songs of unrequited love songs, you know. Oh, my baby left me, I'm so sad, whatever, you know.
Digital or analog?
Analog.
Do you have any rituals before show or in the studio?
Being in my own space, you know.
A little quiet time?
Yeah, and, you know, having dinner, just kind of, yeah. I don't want to be in a big social thing before I go on.
Have you seen anything backstage that you wish you hadn't?
This is a long time ago. This was in the 70s when I lived in Houston. there was a club called Liberty Hall. And I opened up for a couple of bands there. Well, I opened up for, what's his name? Now my mind is gone. You know, the guy the rifle guy, the gun guy.
The gun guy?
Yeah.
Oh, Ted Nugent?
Yeah, I opened up for Ted Nugent by myself.
Wow. And was he an asshole then?
Yeah, I remember hearing he did a radio show. It's probably on KPFT, the Pacifica station that was really big at that time. And I was real involved with, you know, doing benefits for them and that sort of thing. But he was being interviewed and they asked him what he thought about me or something, you know. And he said, oh, just another pussy with a guitar, you know.
Yeah. Fuck him.
But the thing backstage was that one of the things I remember was sitting backstage at Liberty Hall after some show, I don't know. And there's this blues guy named Rocky Hill. I think he might have been Dusty Hill's brother from ZZ Top, maybe.
Okay.
But anyway, he was this, you know, blues guy who hung around Houston, and we were sitting. And you're probably not going to be able to put this on the air, but, you know, I guess I was the only woman in the room, which is, you know, wasn't unusual, being a musician. And I remember, and I was only in my 20s, and I remember him looking over at me as he said, I want to eat your box.
Wow.
Yeah, just class act, right? And I just remember thinking, eat your box, eat your box.
What does that mean? Jesus. Okay.
I know, right?
That's pretty bad, yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. What would be the title of the movie of your life?
Troubled girl. Well, I don't know.
That's awesome. I like it.
It'd probably be a combination of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf mixed with, you know, Streetcar Named Desire and Wise Blood.
What's your current state of mind?
Anxiety mixed with low blood sugar.
Well, we're going to get you a sandwich.
No, we'll go get something.
And we're done. So, thank you.
I probably shouldn't have said that last thing.